Action. All right, who's it on right now? It's on me? All right, Jonathan usually starts talking. So we'll start.
I start talking.
So, but don't look at us, look at that. Are you gonna be able to handle this? Or you want me to do it? All right. Okay. Okay. Is it on me right now? I'm talking. There you go. See? So when I speak, it's on me. All right, good. Wait, no, don't do that. You're shaking the camera. All right. Okay, Jonathan.
All right, how's it going? NU Atlantis show. So last time we did basically a pre-show before even knowing that it was a pre-show, right? We came up with the idea after. So this is basically a second episode, or it could be the first episode, but either way, this is the NU Atlantis show. So thank you for reaching out to me today, because once again, we didn't plan this. So I think that's the best part about it. It's not planned.
Serendipity. That's I try to live my life that way.
I see that.
No plan, Dan.
No plan, Dan.
Serendipity, Dan. It's a fantastic way of going. No,
okay.
Just kidding. But I wake up with the intention to make every day kind of memorable, and with that, I try to live. Because I feel a lot of times when you have a plan, you kind of take the wonder out of the day. You always have a plan of things that you want to do and how you get them done, but you have to kind of leave a little slot open for something that may just kind of pop up. Somebody's saying, "What are you doing Friday?" I don't know yet, and then maybe Thursday I'll start filling that bag with plans or whatnot. But that's kind of how, today again. I picked up my daughter who's helping us today with the switching.
Thank you. Yep.
I'm like, "You want to go to the record store?" And she said, "Yeah, sure." So we just headed over here, and then I reached out to you, and it just wound up lining up.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful thing.
It's interesting. So it's like, do you think sometimes we make plans, right? Some say what, God laughs. Man plans and God laughs, right? That's like a saying. But it's like when it comes to, I feel like masonry or anything in life, work, family, sometimes it's like we have to put stuff on the schedule, right? Like if it's a special event, we can't say, "Oh, you know what? We'll see how it goes today," when it was like a planned wedding or something, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I feel like understanding how far ahead should we plan, because like with me at work, I take off days like a month in advance. I make my schedule a month in advance of when I'm available for appointments, when I can't, and I usually go around like my Masonic schedule of what events or what lodge nights I meet, and I make sure I know that, all right, after a certain time, I can't take appointments from work. I know because I have to go to lodge. So what do you think about that?
I feel like with that, you're buying yourself anxiety, and you're setting yourself off.
Buying yourself anxiety.
I mean, you're setting yourself up for disappointment in a way, and that's even bad to think that way, right? Don't think it's gonna go like you're gonna go into it failing. But like you said, sometimes you make plans and God will laugh. And chaos was the law of nature, and order was a dream of man. Right? And with that, I like planning. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I've been met with disappointment so many times in the past, where I hyper focus on it. I'm like, damn, this really didn't go the way I thought it was gonna go. And so I really focus on just being prepared for whatever challenges may arise. And at the same time too, I also don't like disappointing people. My kids will ask me, can we do this Saturday? And I'm like, let's go into the day with the intention of doing it, but I don't want to fail you and remove honor in my word if something comes up. And then I have to say no. Yeah. And then after I say, hey, something came up, now you're met with disappointment. So I'm disappointed I couldn't make it happen. You're met, and then it's a vicious cycle. So let's plan on making it happen. And then at the same time, my schedule is so hectic.
Oh yeah.
Even just coming to and from home. I'm on the train. Something can happen. The train stops, and now I'm like anticipating. Oh, am I gonna make it there on time? What's going on? And again, I hate disappointing people.
Yeah, of course.
So I think that's one of the reasons why I don't plan so much in advance. You know, I'm like right in the moment, right in the moment. Also, the feeling of it too. As children, you wake up and you wonder, because a lot of things, like as children, you really understand the thought process of nothing is in my control. You know, where are my parents taking me today?
Oh yeah. Of course.
You know, is there a party? What's going on for the weekend? I'm going to school. What? There's a test, pop-up quiz. You know, you live life in wonder. And then if you're in a healthy, you know, thought cycle, you hope for the best things to happen. If you're in a negative one, you know, because you've been met with chaos, now you're walking through life very, you know, on edge and what could happen and fearful. But at the same time, you're always like, I don't know if that's fight or flight, but you're always ready for something to happen instead of looking at what's going to happen. I think that's kind of what I'm. How do you unpack that?
Wow. So basically, you're saying like when you're young, you can't really. Well, you don't plan. It's like already planned for you because maybe your parents are.
Yeah, it's preordained. It's destiny.
I think there's no time when it's not. There's one time when I remember growing up, when it's not planned. It is when I was like having playtime. So I grew up with my brother. We're very close in age, like a year less a day apart. So we'd always play with like, you know, trucks together, Hess trucks. We used to always be like military guys dressed in camouflage outside. So when it was playtime for us or riding bikes, it was like we created the wonder. So that's almost like the.
But that's still in real time.
Well,
that's
everything's
not free, you know.
No, everything's in real time. But I'm trying to say, those are the only time where like it wasn't like my parents planned. Like, all right, we're going to church Sunday, so like I couldn't like plan that, or you know, that was always happening. Or we have to go to school Monday through Friday. But when it was like playtime for us, that's when we created, and like our imagination ran wild.
Yeah. But imagine, right? Going into, you wake up. You're brushing your teeth, and your brother goes, I want to go outside and play with the Hot Wheel or Matchbox cars. And you're like, okay, come here, while I'm brushing my teeth. What are we going to do with them? All right, well, I'm going to drive this way, and I'm going to drive that way, and then, you know, 5 minutes into playing, we're going to honk, and then we're going to, you know, and you pre-plan the whole experience, you know, instead of just creating it in real time. Because your imagination, you realize you have these skills and you have that deep imagination, and through life experiences you've witnessed. But it's one thing to witness, it's another thing to be aware, right? Are you aware of what you're witnessing? Are you in the moment? And as a child, you are in the moment. You're not thinking about bills. You're not thinking about, you know, what family member, you know, you don't like because they said they were gonna bring pasta for the family event and they came empty-handed. You know, like
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
you're not thinking about the future or the past. And if you are in the future, it's in wonder with sometimes the best possible scenarios. And then if you're in the moment, you're creating it in a way that you are in control. You know, and if so, we go from imagination, observation to more observation as an adult. I feel like you watch more because now you're really trying to fit into your environment, where as a kid you're there.
I think it's almost safe to say that, like you said before, we don't plan, all right, what are we gonna do with the truck? We're gonna honk and do all that stuff as children. But I think as adults, we do plan in a sense, right? Where we're gonna go, we're gonna do, and then so in a way, what came to me is when you said that is, that's basically us enforcing our own limitations, predetermined limitations of our behaviors and the boundaries of where it could go. We put ourselves in boxes without even understanding that we're doing that. Only because we wanted to fit. Well, no, we go to dinner at 7:30, and there's two people here. We make sure we have to wear the black, you know, whatever. And it's almost like we put ourselves into limitations as we get older, because we think we need to match like society, or maybe match, you know, Masonic schedules of expectations, right?
Or fit into boxes.
Yes.
Fit into boxes. You know, society is going to give you that box to fit in, right? How are you defined? I am Danny. I am Jonathan. I am, you know, a railroader. You know, I'm this, I'm that, right? But, you know, God teaches you just I am. You're a source of creation.
Yes.
You know, you're not this thing that is defined. And by definitions, there's boundaries. By boundaries, you're closed off. You think you're open, you're closed off. which respectfully you should have boundaries in certain aspects, but to be a source. I am. And you don't have to be anything else. You're fluid at that point, you know? Water is the most powerful force on the planet, right? But it takes the path of least resistance.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
so just be fluid, right? Like that's a big Bruce Lee teaching. So,
really? Wow.
Yeah, he's big on that.
Be fluid. So that's why I used to always like one of my phrases would be like, let's just go with the flow. Like, and that's the best time where there's no plan, no pressure. Like I'll talk to, you know, Mike or someone I know will plan to, not plan, or just say, you know, he's closing up the record store and we want to go do this, do that. We just go with the flow, meaning like don't put pressure on us to be at a certain time, at a certain place, certain time, because then we're not like,
goes back to the cars, like the cars, yeah. You know, playing with the cars and pre-planning. Oh, this is what we're gonna do. You take the beauty out of the whole experience, and life. Again, I'm not advocating for no plans, but don't be so locked in. Like make plan B. All right, just go with the flow. Whatever happens, happens.
Yep.
That could be plan B. You have to be locked into plan A. You have to be goal oriented. But the precision comes in the readiness for anything to happen. You know, a lot of people think moving with speed and being fast, you know, but take a second, measure twice, cut once.
Yeah, right.
You know, a lot of people, just cut, and eventually we'll get it. A lot of time is lost. And, you know, and in time, it doesn't have to always be action. It can be observance, right? And as we are adults, again, you live with observance. So even that kind of contradicts the whole thing that I'm saying prior. But I don't think you should marry a plan, right? You should go into, and that's what the working tools teach you. Go into the day with a plan, right? The 12, first degree. You know, it teaches you to break up the day in a certain amount and to distribute these hours for this or these hours for that. Go into the day with a plan, but it doesn't say exactly what it should be, right?
Correct, yeah.
So, you know, in building a structure, you can't just be like, all right, how many bricks we have? Let me line them all up. Like, you need a plan for that. But, you know, if something's late that day, or you didn't get the order of cement, then you know what? We have something else that we can do. Like, be able to be fluid, you know?
I think that's where you have adaptive intelligence.
There you go.
So if you could adapt, or some say adapt or die, right? But adaptive intelligence is that if you're not getting that delivery to build that house, you could still say, all right, we're at this point, all right, we could have the electrician start working on the roof on this side, because, you know, we're waiting on the materials to come on that side, and the house is this big, so as long as they work on that, we're still adapting to the change, and it's still moving forward. So I think, so could it have adaptive intelligence be also, in a way, a more structured way of going with the flow?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it goes again with I am. You know, I'm not locked into this. I can bend and sway and repurpose intention. I can repurpose, you know, the workforce. I could do all that. I'm not locked into this one thing. You know, I am a source, and that's it. I'm a source of creativity. I'm a source of elasticity. Like, I could bend with anything. It's not an issue if this doesn't happen. I'm locked into it. I'm planning for it to happen. I have the best intentions for it to happen. But if it doesn't happen, empty out, right? When you cook, let's say you just made pancakes in the morning. You have the frying pan, right? And now you're gonna make another meal. Right? You're gonna make omelets. Do you clean that pan, or do you just keep piling stuff in there? Right? You have to be empty first before you're full. So you gotta get everything out from the past, right? The past meal. Clean it, and now that pan is repurposed. It's the same thing with us. I know so many people that have a bad 5 minutes, it turns into a bad day. You know, it's, oh, you know, I can't believe that happened to me. Things don't always go my way. That happened a half hour ago. All right? Clean the frying pan out. New meal. You know, whatever it may be. It could be the same meal if you liked it that much, but you're still gonna clean it. You're gonna get the germs out. You're gonna get the bacteria out. All of those things that are not helpful to the creation process, you know? So if things don't go your way, stop, be empty, so you can be full.
I think what you're talking about also is no attachments. So that's why it's also like, some say you shouldn't have attachments to outcomes. So some say, you shouldn't do things with the outcome. I want to do this because I want to be praised. Or I want to do this because, no, you just want to give because you want to give and not be praised and not even tell anyone you're giving. Just do it because you don't care about the result. So is that like safe to say you're like no attachment? So meaning you're not attached to like, all right, this didn't go the way I wanted. I planned to go. I planned to go change my tire. I planned for it to be 30 minutes long. I planned for the tires to be there, but they weren't. So I think it's all about going with the flow, adaptive intelligence, and then also not having attachments to desired outcomes.
Well, I think that you have to have kind of an attachment to a desired outcome.
Okay.
In a way, right? If you're a creator.
Yeah.
I think the confidence in self comes from knowing that the journey, whether it goes right or goes wrong, it's not happening to you, it's happening for you.
Yes.
2 + 2 = 4, so does 3 + 1.
Yeah.
The goal was 4.
Okay. I see.
If you only have one of these, then all right, I have to do it this way.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna go into it with a goal, this is actually a big problem with our generation, I feel.
Really?
People fall in love with the process of starting over. The minute something is not breeding reward, even though like your desired outcome was here, but like you plateaued for a little bit, they're like, okay, let me just abandon the whole thing and start over because I'm not excited anymore.
Yeah.
There's more issues. Like you have to kind of also be, depending on what it is, you have to also be married to it in a sense.
Okay.
Because you have your ups and downs. You can't live again, yin and yang. All of those things that kind of breed life's experience.
Okay.
You can't just not be, like at that point the plan is not, it goes out of the window. As a man,
you're saying some people give up too early in our generation?
Right. I mean, and it all goes down to if you made a conscious decision that I'm going to build that house, you can't be like, it's just not working out, so I'm just going to abandon it. Something has to happen where even if you don't rebuild that house, there has to be a scenario where maybe you put somebody in a position to finish, because it didn't mean that you had to build a house.
Okay.
But the house had to be built. So if you don't have the resources to continue the plan, at least set somebody else up to do it, right? And the Masonic Lodge is the same way. If this worshipful master cannot get this done, at least leave it a little bit better than when you found it, and then the next guy is in a position to win.
That reminds me of the biblical story of David, right? So King David, and he was basically set to build, God's temple right on earth, but it actually wasn't done by him. He actually left it over to Solomon.
Right.
So it's almost that David knew his purpose. He served his purpose. He was, he basically revitalized, Israel and their faith in God, but he wasn't the one because he wasn't as pure enough to make the temple. But Solomon was the one that it was handed to. So I thought that was pretty interesting to say that sometimes you may not be meant to build it or even finish it. Maybe you might have the idea for it, might be able to lay the foundation for it, right? And gather enough resources so it could be accomplished, but not by you, by the next person that maybe was meant to be accomplished by.
That's progress, and I think as a man, that's your purpose in life, is to be a creator, and it ebbs and flows. Sometimes you have times where you know what, I'm not useful in this situation anymore, and that even contradicts what I was saying earlier about being locked in, right? But every scenario has to be looked at as a source of creation. Very simple.
Okay.
I am, right? If you're going into something, I'm gonna be a source of creation. I can look back and maybe reference certain things that might have happened in the past, and utilize that as a map per se. But that same map is gonna get you that same result. You can pause it. Yeah, I'll do it. I got you. No, you good.
Just like
it comes up. It comes out through there?
Yeah, it picks up the TV and stuff.
No, you good, brother? How you guys doing? Good.
They do.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at with that.
So you're saying you need to have a map? That was the last thing?
I think you need to have map paper.
Map paper?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? Map paper?
It's not the map. It's nothing, right?
Okay.
It was a blank page first.
Okay.
When you create the map, but I think you need to have maybe a map book with a bunch of blank pages, right? If you can reference back, but let's not fall in love with this is how I've always done it.
Oh, of course, yeah.
You know, and that's why the map is good, but the map paper is better. I don't know. I'm trying to make a quote here.
All right, so is it safe to say you're saying a map now, meaning of subconscious or unconscious patterns? You know.
Oh well, that's perfect. A map is a conscious pattern.
Yeah.
Where the map paper, right? This is a blank page. This is what you would draw a map on.
Yeah.
That's the subconscious, right?
Yeah.
Because you're observing and you're kind of copying whatever you see and writing it down or mirroring it in a way. And then this is a fresh thought. This is not like we go into every kind of episode the same way. So I'm breaking this down as we're going. Later on in the car, I'm gonna be like, that's what I should have said. Or after watching it, I might say the same thing. Damn, that's not what I meant.
Okay.
And I think in life, that's going back to that, you know. Forever shouldn't be established or judged by a moment. Because a true person is constantly always evolving. So whatever you say now, it might not resonate with you 5 minutes from now or 2 years from now. So I think your character has to be based merely just on intention. Because action, you can be a victim of circumstance at that time. So going back to the map, right? That map is drawn, point A to point B. Then you're going to a different destination. You're not going to use that same map.
Oh, of course.
Right?
Yeah,
but again, now you have a blank piece of paper and a new map goes there. After a while, those become subconscious, right? Because if you keep visiting that destination, right? The first time I came here, I put it into the GPS. After coming here 4 or 5 times, I don't need a GPS anymore.
You know how to get here, right?
It's subconscious.
Okay. So it's like how do you relate that to like the great work? Meaning, some people, some schools of thought say, all roads lead to Rome, or any spiritual practice you take will lead to the holy mountain.
Right.
It's just different ways to get there. But is it really different ways to get there? Like, could you still be in a way, and could your way be a faulty way to go up the mountain?
Yeah.
Could it veer you off the wrong path if it's not really maybe doing what it's meant to do as far as like elevating your consciousness?
I mean,
or is it every road leads to the holy mountain? Is there not one path, that they're all different paths? Is that,
there's a Nas line, right? I'm a big hip hop guy.
Okay.
Never on schedule, but always on time. Like, you're always supposed to be where you are. In this moment in time, you're always here. Like, you wake up, you can't find your keys. I was supposed to be there, 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
True consciousness understands that, all right, whether it be destiny or God's hand, if I had those keys, maybe I would get into a 10-car pileup.
Yeah, you're right.
These things happen for a reason. So going back to the I am, and maybe that's the title of the episode.
Okay.
Just knowing whatever's happening is actually supposed to happen. Wherever I'm at is actually where I'm supposed to be at. Behavior sways that, obviously. If things are happening to you and it's like, wow, I keep recircling back these same experiences. You're never going to get out of that until you learn from it. And then when you're in the perfect position to receive new blessings and you've built up the tolerance, the fortitude to get those blessings, then you'll receive them. So you're going to constantly keep reliving certain things using the same map, right? But now, let's say that road is closed. Now you gotta go back and try to find another way. But you still could be trying to get to the same destination, which is intention, being a good person, being a good man, being a good co-worker, whatever it may be, being the most skilled at whatever craft you're trying to do. Like, you know, I think the unpacking of whatever box is where the skill, where the creator has blessed you in that sense, right? Where you get into the consciousness. You get a box. Mm-hmm. If you have a blade and you start just tearing this box open, you cut yourself, you know, you cause more harm. You might even ruin what's in the box.
Yeah.
Right? But how you unpack it, your consciousness, delicately, you know, with patience and all of those things. If you unpack it correctly, you can even reuse that same box after and be a blessing somewhere else or not damage whatever's inside. You know? I don't know if I answered your question correctly.
Yeah, so it's safe to say that the I am could be stuck in a certain I am, right?
Oh yeah.
I am, you know, an athlete, so they can be stuck in that personality.
Yeah.
And maybe not able to switch it off too.
Yeah, I mean,
different personality.
You could be can you drink or you good?
Yeah.
You can be cursed by that. Right? How many times you see actors? He's the comedian. You know, he's a comedian. Now that's every role. He's the same person.
Yeah.
Hector in Fast and Furious. He's that guy in every movie, you know? So, yeah, I think the ebb and flow, going back to what we were saying.
Yeah, that's like, how do you learn how do you get unstuck? What do you need to do to get unstuck in those personalities? Like, what can we do?
Don't be married to it. So, again.
I think before you say you have to be married to something, so it's like,
this is
a conundrum. It's like, I think it's like learning how to balance between like two opposites, or you know, there's one way on this side to go, there's another way, but then sometimes it's like being balanced between them both.
The datum, right? The point within the circle.
Yes.
It's free flowing. There's no lines to the edge, you know? That's floating in there. So, yeah, I think going into anything with fresh eyes, you'll be super resourceful that way. Don't base everything on what happened before. You know, obviously if you know that the iron's hot, don't touch it every time, you know? Like, you learn that way, but going into other things, like if it's gonna be detrimental to your health, then obviously you're gonna resort back to what has been learned behavior, right? You understand, this creates that. But now when you wanna create and just create, then you start from zero, you know?
It's funny you say that because you know what tarot card connects to number 0?
What's that?
The Fool. And if everyone's seen the Fool tarot card, basically the Fool, you know, everyone thinks, wow, this guy's just a fool. But he basically has like a rod, and he has a little knapsack, but the knapsack is tiny because it represents like his past experiences. So meaning, it's always go into something as a fool, meaning like open for new experiences.
I like that.
Carrying very light, a little small back, and the rod represents like the middle pillar. It's like your balanced nature carrying a little bit of what you need to remember from the past. Circumstances or whatnot, but not to carry a lot of baggage. Sometimes we carry too much baggage, and that affects our critical thinking, and we're too biased to different situations based on what happened in the past to us.
Absolutely. I mean, you show up to the plane, and they're gonna say you have to check that. You only take carry-ons over here.
Yeah.
I think that's the perfect way to end it, you know?
Yeah. Excellent.
You want to close it out? Thanks for coming. I don't know, how do you close these out? What's going to be our identity, or is it just going to be fresh?
Just keep it fresh, you know. I usually do outro videos anyway, so.
Okay, so we're good.
Yeah, so.
All right. Arrivederci.
Yep. Ciao.
There we go.